Welcome to my YouTube channel Family Drama Files. Please like, share, subscribe for more emotional videos.
My father looked me straight in the eyes during Sunday dinner and said, "You are not half the man your brother is." The whole table laughed, except my mother. I quietly pushed my chair back and replied, "Then he can start paying your rent from now on." My mother's face turned white. She whispered, "Rent? What? Rent?" At that moment, I realized my father had been hiding a secret from the entire family for years. What happened next destroyed every lie they had built and changed our family forever. My name is Oliver. I grew up believing that hard work earns respect. My younger brother Ethan believed respect should be handed to him simply because he was the favorite. Every birthday he received expensive gifts, while I got lectures about responsibility. Every achievement I made was compared to something he supposedly did better. By 26, I had built a successful construction company in Manchester. I worked long hours and never asked my parents for a penny. Ethan, however, changed jobs every few months. He still lived alone in a nice apartment and drove a new car. Dad always claimed Ethan was simply smarter with money. I never questioned it because I was too busy building my own future. Everything changed during a family dinner celebrating Dad's retirement. He raised his glass and smiled proudly at Ethan before looking directly at me. He said, "This is what a real man looks like. Ethan knows how to enjoy life. Oliver only knows how to work." Everyone laughed except my mother, who looked uncomfortable. I calmly stood up and said, "If Ethan is such a real man, then he can finally start paying your rent himself." The room became completely silent. My mother's smile disappeared. She looked at Dad and quietly asked, "Rent? What rent?" Dad's face instantly lost its color. I realized something was very wrong. Mom explained she thought the apartment belonged to Ethan because Dad had always told her Ethan bought it himself. She had no idea Dad secretly owned the apartment or that someone had been paying every monthly payment. I opened my banking app and placed my phone on the table. Every month for almost 4 years, I had transferred money to Dad because he claimed he could not afford the apartment after retiring. He begged me not to tell Mom because he wanted her to believe he was financially secure. He promised the payments were temporary. Instead, he used my money to let Ethan live rent-free. While pretending Ethan was independent, Mom stared at the screen in disbelief. She asked Dad if it was true. He could not answer. Ethan finally admitted he knew everything. He said Dad wanted to protect him while he found his purpose. I laughed quietly. 4 years was apparently enough time to find a purpose. Mom stood up from the table and walked into another room. When she returned, she carried a folder containing every household financial record. Within minutes, she discovered something even worse. Dad had also taken money from their retirement savings without telling her. Not for medical bills, not for emergencies, for Ethan's vacations, car payments, credit card debt, and apartment expenses. Mom looked completely heartbroken. She said she had spent years cutting household expenses because she believed they needed to save money. Meanwhile, Dad had been secretly funding Ethan's lifestyle using both her savings and my monthly payments. Dad tried to justify everything by saying parents should help their children. I agreed. But parents should never punish one child to reward another. That night, I canceled every future payment. I also contacted the property manager and explained that I would no longer be covering any expenses connected to the apartment. Within weeks, Ethan received an eviction notice because Dad could no longer afford the payments without my help. Suddenly, the brother who had always mocked. My work ethic started calling me every day asking for financial help. For the first time, I simply said no. Not because I wanted revenge, because consequences teach lessons that money never can. Months later, my mother filed for financial separation to protect what remained of her retirement savings. Dad apologized repeatedly, but trust once broken is almost impossible to rebuild. One afternoon, Mom visited my office. She hugged me and admitted, something that stayed with me forever. She said, "I thought I had raised one strong son and one lucky son. I was wrong. I raised one honest man and one spoiled child." Those words meant more than every compliment my father had refused to give me. Sometimes the greatest betrayal is not the insult spoken at the dinner table. It is the years of silent lies hidden behind fake praise and secret payments. Respect is never given because someone is the favorite. It is earned through honesty, responsibility, and character. In the end, the truth always collects every unpaid debt.